I want you to tell me if this sounds familiar. You're looking at your social media. It could be Instagram, Pinterest, or TikTok, pick your poison. Or you could be reading about your favorite celebrity. And suddenly it feels like everyone is wearing the same thing. From mob wife aesthetic, stealth wealth core. You're sitting there subliminally being brainwashed into thinking, well, this seems like a cool trend. Maybe I'm interested in this too. Fashion trends move fast. Why do we care so much? But here's the even bigger question. Why do fashion trends move so fast? It wasn't always like this. This is how trends used to work and how they took over our lives. Let's rewind a little bit. Back to 90s fashion. Trends had a slow burn, maybe even a simmer, if you will. Trends would take years to fully develop, peak, and fade. You'd see a style emerge on the runway, then gradually trickle down to magazines, department stores, and everyday wardrobes. If you bought into a trend, you had time to enjoy it before something new came along. Now fast forward to the 2000s. This is when things start to speed up. Fast fashion brands like Zara, H&M, they're on the rise. Trends started cycling every season instead of every few years. What used to take a decade to evolve was now happening in just a couple of years. Then enter social media. Suddenly, everyone has access to runway looks, to street style, to influencer fashion, and in real time. Instead of waiting for trends to trickle down, they explode instantly. Something can be in 1 month and out the next. In fact, trends now have a life cycle of just 3 to 6 months. That's insane compared to the past. Here's why we follow the trends without realizing it. So let's talk about something really interesting. It's called herd mentality, because whether we realize it or not, it's one of the biggest reasons we follow trends. Herd mentality is a psychological phenomenon where people follow what the majority is doing. Even if it doesn't actually make sense for them, it's rooted in survival instincts. Back in the day, our ancestors used to stick together because it kept them safe. If the group was doing something, it was usually for a good reason, like avoiding danger or finding resources. Fast forward to today, and we still have that instinct to conform. Even if we fancy ourselves as nonconformists, we're still part of a group that feels the same way. We're just part of a nonconformist group. And guess what? Fashion taps into this instinct perfectly. When we see a style everywhere, our brains go, oh, that must be the right thing to wear. Even if we didn't like it in the first place, repeated exposure makes it feel normal, even desirable. It's why a trend that seemed weird at first, like barrel jeans or dad sneakers, suddenly looks cool after a few months. The fear of being left out and why it works so well. Influencers wearing the same trendy item is another big part of herd mentality. Another big part of herd mentality, the fear of being left out. We don't just want to belong, we need to. So when we see everyone embracing a new style, it creates kind of a social pressure. Even if you don't love the trend, there's a little voice in your head whispering, maybe I should just try it. Be honest. Have you ever bought into a trend you didn't like at first? Me too. I have. And here's a real kick in the pants. Fashion brands know this about us. They know it very well. They use herd mentality to keep us on a never-ending cycle of consumption. The faster a trend moves, the more they sell. How many times have you bought something just because you saw it everywhere? Maybe it was that viral handbag, or a pair of sunglasses, or a pair of Uggs that suddenly everyone seemed to own. Have you even thought, do I actually like this? Or did it seem so much like you got brainwashed? And spoiler alert, that's not an accident. That's marketing at its finest. Because here's the truth. Fashion brands know how our brains work. They understand herd mentality better than we do. And they use it against us to make sure we're constantly chasing the next best thing. And the craziest part, sometimes we don't even realize it's happening. Fashion brands will create the illusion that everyone is wearing a trend so that our brains go, oh, I need to get in on this. Even if we didn't like the trend at first, repeated exposure makes it feel normal, even desirable. That's why trends you used to think were ugly suddenly look kind of cute after seeing them 1,000 times. But now here's how brands manufacture the trends. It's not as organic as you think. It's really, really sneaky. Most people think trends happen naturally, like someone wears something cool, it catches on, and boom, a trend is created. But That's not really how it works. There are actually 6 steps to following a trend. Brands just don't follow trends. They manufacture them. And here's how they do it. They start at the top with luxury brands and set the stage. They introduce an extreme version of a trend. Think absurdly oversized blazers, sky-high platforms. Then they let celebrities and influencers push it. Brands pay influencers and celebrities to wear the trend and make it look cool, aspirational, and exclusive. Third, fast fashion floods the market. The minute trends get attention, brands like Zara, Shein, H&M, Mango mass produce it in lightning speed, making it affordable and accessible to everyone. Then everyone has to have it effect. Suddenly it's all over Instagram, TikTok, and the street. Your brain goes, oh, I guess this is what we're wearing now. If you've ever felt like you're not buying a trend, you're somehow missing out. That's the FOMO action that brands love using against us. You feel like you have to buy it before it's gone. Even if you're not obsessed, you don't want to feel left out. They'll create artificial scarcity, dropping limited edition collections or hyping a product to almost being sold out. So you feel pressured to buy before it's too late. But is it really? Most of the time, that scarcity is fake. Sometimes miraculously, they restock the minute demand spikes. The cycle repeats. After you finally buy into the trend, boom, a new trend replaces it, and your last purchase is already outdated. And just like that, brands keep you on an endless loop of buying, whether you actually love the trend or not. So there's a flip side. What happens if you don't follow trends? If you stick to what you love, for example, a t-shirt and joggers, and you decide to ignore the cycle of what's in versus what's out, it is possible you can feel outdated and blah. And that's what the fashion brands are hoping for. Then the subconscious creeps in, making you feel like since you don't follow the crowd, you'll somehow feel insecure. So should we even care about trends? I mean, what happened to fun? Fashion is supposed to be fun. Trends aren't a bad thing, but they also shouldn't control us. Instead of blindly following them, ask yourself, does this trend actually make me feel confident? Does it suit my personal style? Is it realistic for my lifestyle? If the answer is no, then don't do it. When it's all said and done, the most timeless thing you can wear isn't a trend, it's confidence. As corny as that might sound, it's the truth. I'm really interested in knowing, do you follow trends? Do you love trends? Or do you march to the beat of your own drum? Drop a comment below and let's talk about it. And if you enjoyed this chat, don't forget to like, subscribe, and most importantly, wear what makes you feel amazing.